Alright folks, welcome back to another video. This video is really special. This has been in the works for probably, it's been in the making. I think I got the truck 20 or 21, I can't remember. But yeah, this, and I'm looking at it right now, which is why I'm grinning. But yeah, this has been a long time coming. When I bought the truck, it never entered my mind to do this. But as time went on, I thought, it's pretty close. And with the color it is, why not? Because it's not a real extravagant color. It's not a real popular color, so you're not really messing it up, if you letter it up or something like that. So obviously you've seen from the thumbnail, it's my brown 93 F250. Well, we got to go back. I got to stop this story to tell you another story. Now, some of you that are old enough to have watched it when it first came out in theaters, you've recognized what I'm doing. But to anybody that has ever watched the movie Smokey and the Bandit, hopefully you picked up on this truck, especially if you're a Ford guy. Okay, so when you watch the movie, there is a scene. It's towards the end of the movie. Of course, they're coming back into Georgia, and they've Burt Reynolds and Sally Field, they've got the law hot on their tail, and they're needing somebody to run some interference. So they radio ahead. They get this bunch from this, I don't know if it was technically a truck stop or just they called it a choke and puke on the movie, but just a eating place. And they got all those people to gather up and run interference for them to slow the law down. Okay, well, this truck only shows up in, I think, 3 scenes, and they're very, very short scenes. You don't see much of the truck, and it was, from what I've understood, it was built for the movie, but it wasn't supposed to be a star vehicle. It was technically an extra, but over the years, people's picked up on it, and it's here recently, it's gotten very popular. And like I said, I've had this idea for the last, I guess, 4 years. And but anyways, the truck in the movie is a 76 or 77 F250 highboy, and it's brown. It's it's got some paint done to it. It's got the stripe down the side. Got roll bar lights. It's got the winch bumper, all the lights, all the chrome, all the good stuff. And in one of the scenes, it's a quarter shot from the front of the truck on the passenger side, and on the hood, on the side of the hood, you see it's a FOXX hunt, but it's 2 X's instead of 1. So obviously that catches your eye right there. And for years I've wondered about that truck, and just wondered how it even come to be. Well, when I got this truck, I was sitting there looking at it one day, me and one of my buddies, and I thought, what if the guy that built that truck, it was actually Galpin Auto Sport out of California that built the truck, the original. And since then, they've done a tribute truck. But I thought, in the movie, it's just an ordinary guy that owns the truck, is what you assume. Let's say he had that truck when he was a teenager, early 20s, and you get up into the 90s, let's say he wanted to build the truck again, sold it, maybe had a family or whatever. He thinks, I'd like to have one of these new trucks, but I miss my FOXX hunt, So my thought was, let's take a 90s truck and do a 90s version of a fox hunt. All the stuff that would have been popular in the 90s, because that truck was heavily, heavily influenced with the 70s, the turbine wheels, all that stuff. And if you're not familiar with the truck that I'm talking about, here's a picture of it. Now, you can see that, it's got a winch bumper, it's got the roll bar lights, the turbine wheels, it screams 70s. I mean, absolutely screams 70s. So, with this truck, I thought, let's just do the same thing, but do all the 90s, the popular stuff that was in the 90s, And lo and behold, after a few years of gathering parts and everything, I finally have it. I have a fox hunt, but it's a 90s version. So I'm tickled to death on this, because for one, I've only seen one other dent side fox hunt, okay, and it's not correct to the movie. It's a tribute truck, because it don't have the gold stripe or gold two-tone piece in the center down the side. It's not exact. And the whole goal for this truck, even before the fox hunt idea, was I wanted something that looked like it was decked out in the 90s and maintained. It wasn't destroyed, it wasn't beat up. It's got its bruises, it's got its scars and its scrapes, but it was maintained. That was the main thing that I wanted with this truck. And then the fox hunt idea come along. And what got it started was my buddy had a set of slotted mags, and we just happened to wheel them up to the truck, and that's what got it started. Because I love slotted mags. To me, that's one of the best wheels that's ever been made in existence. But the thing about it is, in the 90s, slotted mags wasn't that popular. So, but that's what got the ball rolling, okay? So, I've talked long enough. I've had you looking at me long enough. I think you need to see the truck. So here we go. Bam! There it is. Oh man, I'm telling you, I am so stoked on this truck, because here's the thing. It's brown. What are you going to do with a brown truck? Now, I like brown. There's good looking browns out there. This is a decent looking brown. But what are you really going to do to it? Now, originally I was going to put the stripe, the gold stripe down the side like the original. But they wasn't really doing that in the 90s. So that didn't... It would have fixed that mess on the door. But now, of course, they was still doing two-tone in the 90s from the factory. But it just... I didn't think it really needed it. Maybe, some of you may disagree with me, but, and I may change it later on. I don't know. But, I want it to look like it comes straight out of the 90s, been maintained, and like the guy that owned the original Fox Hunt, he wanted a 90s version. So this is what he could have got from the factory, and then decked it out. Now, let's go over some of the differences. Obviously, you can see them, but I'm going to explain them. Now, in the 70s, the turbine wheels was king. That and slotted mags. Okay? In the 90s, that's when the Mickey Thompson bullet holes come out. Now, these are not Mickey Thompsons. These are the knockoffs. But, they're close enough. But, these wheels have been beat to death over the years. But there's a reason why. They just work. Now, I could have put slotted mags on it, and I may put slotted mags on it just to see, you know, just to give it a different vibe. But for now, I think this is going to work. So that's the difference in the wheels. The original Fox Hunt had a roll bar. Everybody was running roll bars back in, and even into the 90s. But one thing that was starting to get popular in the 90s was a headache rack. So, you know, and let's say this dude worked for a living. You know, obviously, if he would have been in his teens and early 20s then, he was in high school, just getting out of high school, so he wasn't needing a truck to work. He was wanting something to go play. So the roll bar, you know, plus it was popular. In the 90s, you know, he's growed up, needs a headache rack with a toolbox, okay? So he can still put stuff in here and, you know, work it and everything, carry his tools with him. So, you know, but still got the dual antennas. You know, we keep that. Obviously, we keep the lights, the KC lights. Got to have them. And now, one of the main differences, right here, on the original, it was hand painted. The Fox Hunt was hand painted on that truck. Well, that was really big in the 70s. Hand paint, hand lettering, all that. Well, starting in, I'm going to say probably the mid 80s, and all through the 90s, decals started hitting it big because they was cheaper, they was easier to put on, you didn't have to find somebody to hand paint, and you could, you know, for, I won't necessarily say that they last longer, but it was just the thing. You know, decals was starting to become a big thing. And, you know, let's go to one of the most famous trucks from the 80s, Bigfoot. That was a decal on the door. That wasn't hand painted. Okay, so decals was very popular into the 90s. So that would have probably been what he could get a hold of. All right, now the original had a winch bumper. Now, if any of you are into these OBS trucks, you know a winch bumper for one of these is like a war pension, especially a chrome one. So we've not found one yet. Is it possible I'll put one on? It's possible. Or we may cut this up and make it work. Now, this truck is about 90% done from what I would consider complete and finished. All right. Obviously, we need the winch and possibly a winch bumper. The exhaust still needs to be done because we're still running the factory exhaust. It's quiet, you know. I've had loud vehicles for a long time, and when I got this, I thought, you know, it's quiet. I've not had a quiet vehicle in a while. Well, I've about outgrew that. I'm about over that stage. I want something loud again. So we got to find us an exhaust system that'll work really good. Now, another thing that the original didn't have was a bug shield. The Fox Hunt never had a bug shield on it. But in the 90s, which back in they was big, that one just didn't have one. But we added a bug shield because, you know, all these trucks that was decked out usually had one. And, you know, some other key things is we've got the bed caps and everything. You know, that was definitely popular in the 90s. So that's been my vision for this truck for the last 4 years. A 90s version of a Fox Hunt. Now, one other difference that you've probably noticed, the original letters was gold. Okay, I think, now this is just my opinion, and it's my truck so I can do what I want, but I think this, it's not gold like what the original had, but I think this yellowish goldish looks just great. I think it matches stuff that was in the 90s. I think it looks great. But yeah, I am tickled to death with this truck because it's just, I mean, like I said, I've only ever seen one other dent side FOXX hunt, and I've never seen somebody do a 90s version. So I'm tickled to death over this truck. I mean, this thing just, oh. Now, like I said, it's about 90% done. You know, we got to put a winch on it, possible winch bumper, the exhaust, and I am debating on going ahead and lifting it 4-6 inches and putting, it's got 33s on it now. Probably going to 38s if we go with a 6-inch lift. It'll definitely be 38s if I don't try to squeeze 40s. But I don't want to go away from the original too much, because we've already went this far. You know, it's not got a roll bar. It's a 90s. The color on the letters are different, but we're not trying to build something exact to the T. Now, would I love to build a exact replica dent side FOXX hunt? Absolutely. But this is what we've got right now. You know, you've heard the saying, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Well, this ain't a lemon by no means, but with the color and the style that I'm into, you know, that whole 70s to 90s show truck style, I mean, there was no other choice but to do a FOXX hunt style truck. So, but I'm tickled to death over this thing. It's, son, I'm telling you, this is, yeah, this is what it's about right here. So that's pretty much what we've got right now. This is the 90% update video, I guess, of this truck. And it's definitely ready for cruising season and car show season. So I'm interested to see how many people pick up on it. I actually just put the name on it today, and so far the people that have noticed it have asked, what is FOXX hunt? So there you go, having to explain the story, and by the time you're done explaining the story, they think you're nuts. Between having that kind of useless knowledge about a movie, nevertheless a truck, and the fact that, you know, that you would do something like this. But, you know, for y'all that are into this stuff, you understand. And, you know, I'm not going to say that this has been a dream since a little kid, but it was an opportunity, and I just made the best of it, and I think it turned out great. So I tell you what, I'm going to end this video right here, and I'm going to go enjoy this truck. You know, we've got it done now. I'm going to go enjoy it. It's almost 90 degrees out today. It's been almost 90. It's probably about low 80s right now, but it's been a good day. Wonderful day to go out and cruise around stuff, so that's what I'm going to do. Might even go find me a big Smokey red 22 to get into. If you know, you know. So I'm going to end it right here. I appreciate y'all watching. Let me know what you think of this truck. You know, I'm tickled to death with it. So let me know what you think. Leave it down in the comments. We'll see you on the next one. See you.